Hey builders, and welcome to a new series on MB Bricks called Come Build With Me. Throughout this series, I will be showing you a casual step-by-step process of different building techniques that I use in my MOCs, so if there's anything specific you would like to see, please let me know. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this tree tutorial. So this is the tree that we will be building today. This is my new tree design that you saw recently in my old mining town. So basically we use a lot of the irregular tree leaf pieces, and then I've covered them with the brand new smaller leaf design that LEGO has recently introduced to make it a lot more intricate, but it is still fairly basic in its design. So I'm going to show you how I put this together and how I got some of the different angles and stuff like that. So let's push this off to the back there. And I've already started a new base. So you want to just kind of play around with this and try out a bunch of different reddish brown slow pieces. I use some of these curved pieces as well. Sometimes I use headlight brick, sometimes I use these textured pieces here. You know, just kind of play around with it, see what looks good till you get a design that you are happy with. And when you're finished with the base, I always put either a tile or a brick on the top just to kind of hold it all together. Sometimes it can be a little unsteady, and this just kind of makes it a little bit more steady, especially if you're going to be transporting your designs or anything like that. What I normally do is top it with 4 studs. So however you need to kind of slope it to get it to 4 studs. You can go bigger or smaller. That's just the generic size that I use for my tree trunks going upwards. So yeah, then you're going to get a bunch of these half arch pieces. Now you can do different colors. I'm doing a basic reddish brown because I feel like a lot of people will have these elements in this color. You can also do black, dark brown, or you can do some crazy funky colors if you want, just to mix it up depending on what kind of MOC you're making as well. Like I said, this is what I figure most people will have in their collection, so that's why I've chosen this for my tutorial today. So anyway, so once you get these, make sure they're all pointing in different directions so that you get a more spread out tree. It looks a little bit better. Now you're going to take these pieces. Now this is totally optional as well. Like I said, you can kind of switch anything out in this tutorial to what pieces you have, or if you have, you know, a better idea, obviously go with that. So this is just a basic 1x1 brick with a bar out the side. So I just kind of put those in the middle there. A little tricky to get on. So you want them right in the middle of the 2 branches, so it's kind of sticking out there. So let's get 3 more on here. Okay, lovely. So now you can see you've got a small bar sticking out from each side. Now the reason I use the piece with bar, you can use these smaller leaf pieces, and these will fit right onto the bars like so. So you have another extra little bit of foliage kind of building out from the bottom. Now these will not stay on very well, so I actually will take a 1x2 reddish brown slope and just cover that up, and it just holds it in place nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to do that to the other 3 sides here. Okay, so now you can see that we have finished that portion, and yeah, like I said, this isn't really necessary, but I like to add it in just to get a little bit extra leaves underneath. Now for this next part, we're going to continue working on these branches going outwards. So I just put a cheese slope and reddish brown just on the end there, and I've just left this last stud open. And then I've taken a 1x2 reddish brown plate, and this doesn't really matter the color. I didn't have a lot in brown, so I chose to substitute with black, and just kind of snap that on top there. And this has the ratcheted style hinge on the one end. Okay, so then I've got that piece, and I'm just going to stick it on top so that it's flush going down with the cheese slope. Now from here, we are going to start working on the actual leaf pieces. So I have a bunch of these pieces. Let me see, I kind of got them off to the side here, and a bunch of these pieces. So I'm going to show you how I put these together. So for the first step, I've just got a basic 1x4 reddish brown plate and another hinged piece, the ratcheted style. So this is the female style to go with the male style already on the tree. So I put that on the bottom, and then another 1x2 reddish brown plate for the other side. Okay, so that's going to be our basic branch. And then you're going to want to take one of your leaf pieces and attach it here like so. Okay, so that's the part that's going to attach to the tree there. And then for the bottom layer, I usually do 4 leaf pieces, so I make it a bit longer, and then I stick these two on the side here like this. And now basically this is what I would normally do for my tree piece. However, since I have all of these new leaf pieces, I am simply going to start attaching these to as many of the open studs as I can. Now you're not going to be able to fit them on all of them because they're just a bit too close, but yeah, I just fill in as much space as I can. So here's the end result after you put all those little guys on, and then you're gonna just snap it onto your tree. And the cool thing about it being on a ratcheted hinge is you can actually point it down, get a nice angle there, and with the cheese slope there, it kind of prevents it from going too far in any direction. Now I've already done up a couple more of these, so we're just going to snap these on. And voila, you've got your first layer of trees done. Now the second layer is a little bit more complicated, but not too bad, because we want to get not just back and forwards and side to side building, we want angled building as well. So for these next parts, we're going to be using hinge pieces like this, as well as the ratcheted style to get more of an angle. So I'm going to show you guys just how to do that. So your next step is going to want to be to stabilize the inside. That is key, because if you start putting more and more on top and it's not stabilized, your whole thing's going to fall apart, which has never ever happened to me. So we're just going to put a 2x2 brick down into the middle, and yeah, that's perfect. So then we're going to start with our next layer. We're going to put more of these same size half arches. You're going to want to put them in between the other arch pieces just to get a little bit of differential in your tree. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna now you can do the same thing as before, where you put these 1x1 brick pieces with a bar just in the middle there. give it a little bit more texture. I didn't actually put the small leaf pieces in the middle here because they kind of got in the way. So once you have that down, your next layer is actually just going to be regular 1x1 bricks. Just to switch it up a little bit. Like I said before, you can kind of play around and do whatever you want with this part. So it's underneath, so it won't be seen a whole lot, but yeah. So now you're ready to start with the interesting part. So now for this next part, we have one of these types of hinge pieces and one of these style ratcheted hinge pieces. And you're just gonna put it on top like that. So you get a nice hinge, and we're gonna get a pretty good angle with that. So here now, where it's flush on the upper part, you're gonna put this in and just kind of curve that so it's kind of pointing diagonally in between these two branches here, and then we're going to do the same on the other 3 branches. Okay, perfect. So now we have our next layer ready to go. So I've just done another branch the same way as the base. So then again, you're going to take your leaf pieces, and your main one's going to be attached in the 2 spots there to hold it together. And then we've got 1 and 2. Now the ones on the bottom, I had another leaf here, but because as we're moving up to the top of the tree, we're going to want to do less and less so that it looks kind of curved and rounded on the top. Okay, so now, just as we did before, we're going to start putting these little guys, and then we're just going to go all the way around and get as many of the studs as possible. Okay, so we are back, and this is what the next layer is going to look like. So then on your hinged piece here, just support it from behind, snap it in, and get a nice angle there. And then you can just kind of adjust it to kind of where you want it. You can open these up, close them up a little bit. And I've already done a few more of these, so we're going to go ahead and put those on. So here's our tree with 2 layers done, different angles, different layers, and we are going to be moving on to the 3rd layer now. Okay, so we have the 2nd layer complete now, and we are going on to our 3rd. So once again, you are going to want to take one of these 2x2 bricks, just kind of place it into the middle there to solidify it, if I can get it in there. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now that's nice and steady to build the next layer on. So for the 3rd layer, I mean, you can do this as big and as tall as you want. I'm gonna start using these smaller half arches now, just because I just don't want to be building it too much larger. For minifig scale, I think this is pretty accurate, so that's why I have chosen this size for today. So we got those 4 around there, 1 more 2x2 brick in the middle to kind of hold that together, and then I just take these 1x2 reddish brown slopes and I put those in the middle just to hold it all together, because this is the very top of the tree here. So You want it as stable as possible. So now that's the top of the tree there, okay? And I mean, you can see I can pick it right up, kind of spin it around, and it's not going anywhere. It's not falling apart. So that is exactly what we want. Now, because the middle layer was on an angle, we can build this layer straight out from these branches here, which is perfect. Now I've already done these up as well. I'm not going to show you guys putting those little leaves on again. It's tedious, and I mean, it's pretty basic. I've shown you guys a couple times, so I'm sure you can figure it out. This is just using one leaf at this point, because it's getting, like I said, it's getting to the top of the tree, so we want to build smaller and smaller as we go up. Now these, the very top point here just goes on the end of the branch here. Now these aren't held on by much, it's literally just one stud. So once these go on, you gotta be a little bit gentle with the tree, but I mean, if these come off, they're pretty simple to go back on. So yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty good. Now we just gotta do the very top. Now what I've done for the top is I've actually just taken a basic 1x1 round cylinder piece. Now I put it at the very top in between the 4 studs. It's a little bit difficult to get it in there, so if you want to use a jumper plate, feel free to do that and add a little bit more height, but that's alright. So here we go. This is what the top looks like with that cylinder right in the middle there. So for this final part, once again, I have 2 of these covered with those new leaf pieces, and what you want to do is put the 2 wider bases, not the points, the wider bases together, like so, leaving this gap in the middle here. And that is actually just going to sit very nicely around that cylinder piece. And it might kind of fall to one side or another, but that's okay because we have one final leaf piece. Cram as many of those little leaf pieces on as you can, because this is going to go on the very top. So this is going to go this very center here, that's going to go on top of that cylinder piece right up at the top here. Now at this point, if your tree is not stable, it could all fall and your work will be for nothing. So make sure you put those extra pieces in the middle to stabilize it, and then that's what it looks like from the top. So this is the final tree design that we have built. If you like this tutorial, definitely try building it and let me know how you did. Subscribe to this channel for more upcoming videos on new MOCs and tutorials on their way. Thanks for checking out this video, and we will see you next time. Keep on building.